So blackberries are in season. Let's say you're cooking plenty, but you've got surplus. So we're gonna go in here with some beautiful blackberries, and you're gonna take a standard white red wine vinegar and you just cover it. So we're making a flavored vinegar. You wanna hit it with a little salinity, salt, about 2 to 3%. I would put in here. You've got natural sweetness in there in the berry, but also sourness, so you might need a little help with sugar. But I'm also feeling the vibe of another source of sugar. Right now I've got bees, right? Honey is a gift. It's a beautiful thing, right? We've just used a little thimble, right, of this sugar to balance the acidity. In here, if you want to, you can take a few little pink peppercorns. You can take a little bit of herb, get that in the vinegar, and you've got that cold infusion. If you had spices or zest or other things that might benefit from heat, then you can gently heat up that vinegar and infuse beautiful flavors and pour it over things. But look, it's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. So I'm gonna show you how to make this beautiful flatbread with taleggio, which is a funky cheese, in the oven. Melt it, and then we're gonna finish it with shaved fennel, pickled blackberries. It's a beautiful thing. So I'm gonna show you how to make a simple bread dough. So what we have in here is 400 grams of strong white flour and 100 grams of wholemeal flour. What that gives you is a dough that's bouncy, which is nice. I've got a really good pinch of salt, about 12 grams, and 7 grams of dried yeast goes in here. So that goes simply into a food processor. These sachets of yeast are always 7 grams, so that goes in as well, right? So we have seasoning, we have yeast, we have the flour. I'm gonna give it a little kiss of a teaspoon or 2 of honey. This will just get the dried yeast activated and really going, which is a nice thing, but also give you a nice little bit of flavor and color in the oven. So that is that. Then 350 mils of water goes in. So all I do now is put the lid on, whiz it up. You can see it then start getting sticky and then like cleaning the bowl. That's building the kind of complexity and structure. It's a bit fast, but it's a very simple dough. We're not trying to make sourdough. We're not trying to like be the best patisserie in France, right? This is a simple, delicious dough rattled out. Now, what would I do? Nothing. I'd leave it. I'd leave it for an hour or 2 to prove in here. Don't take it out, don't muck about. Simples, simples, simples. Once you've done that, what I do is divide it into 4 in a dusted tray, cover it with a wet cloth like that. Give it another half an hour to relax. So that's what we got here, a nice light dough. Can you see how beautiful that is? It's that simple. So let's show you how to do this lovely flatbread. What we're gonna do is get ourselves a bit of grease-proof paper here, a little bit of flour, on top of the bread. Just get in there with your hands gently, or you could use a little fish slice if you want. Flour your hands, and I'm just gonna stretch the dough. So look, what we got here is kind of almost like a slipper shape. So just pull it like that, let gravity do its clever work. Using your fingertips just to kind of keep those billowy edges, that will give you contrast, so thin and a bit more spongy and fatter. What we're gonna do now is a couple of things. We're gonna take a funky cheese, right? But this is taleggio. This is a washed rind cheese. It's funky, it smells bonkers, but it's actually very mild. Slice it up like that. So just put that across like that. Rosemary, thyme, sage, marjoram, these are all beautiful herbs. They're what we call woody herbs. And what I will do is just take a little bit of olive oil and in my hands just oil the herbs, and we'll just kind of move these around just to accentuate the natural oils in the rosemary, and then pull these off the sprig and put these around the bread. When these roast up, they go crisp, delightful, and delicious. Tiny bit of oil on top. Let's hit it with some black pepper. I've got an oven preheated to full whack, right? I've got a tray in there. So just as kind of like good practice, what I'll do is put it on greaseproof paper so I don't have any dramas, right? Because I don't want them. Go over to your oven, pull it out, put it on, and close the door pretty quick. While that's cooking, please click the like button and give us some love. And don't forget to subscribe. Oh, and remember to turn on that notification bell so you know what's happening. Now, back to the recipe. So in the oven it goes for about 8 or so minutes until golden crisp and the cheese has melted. And let's cover this dough with the wet cloth again. I want to show you a quick little pickle to bring this whole story together. We've got these beautiful blackberries pickling in vinegar. So this is fennel. It grows in many parts of the world. It's really crunchy, really fresh. It's great with cheese, it's great with fish, it's actually great with white meat like pork and chicken. You can roast it, grill it, steam it, boil it, mash it, and it is a really, really nice salad shaved. So instead of using a mandolin that scares the life out of me, or a slicer, which I don't want that either, right, just take a humble old speed peeler, right? It's the cheapest gadget ever. You can even take these frumpy old stalks and just start shaving them into something delicious. You can grab it like that and just go through the heart of the fennel. And what we start to get is these perfectly imperfect kind of cross sections. The smell in the room is amazing. So hot, crisp bread, funky cheese melting, really crunchy, fresh fennel dressed with the blackberry vinegar and a few blackberries thrown in there for fun. Like, this is gonna be a beautiful thing. If you look around here, you've got these lovely little fronds here of herbs. Further up here as well, you get all of these. So if you see those lovely herbs, use them. The whole vegetable is special. So we're gonna go in with some nice cold pressed extra virgin olive oil. So let's say like a good tablespoon of that. I'll season it with some salt to make it yum. And then here is a blackberry vinegar that I made a few days ago. So we'll take some of this vinegar to dress the fennel. So I'm gonna put like 2-3 spoons in there. So actually, if you look at the fruit itself, it's still in quite good nick. Steal some and put those into your salad. So then when you sort of dress that up, you know, this, particularly with pork, chicken, roasted fish, is a thing of joy. Look at that. I mean, it's just texturally, visually, like interesting looking. I'm into that. So we have the dressed fennel. So let's get in the oven. It's at about 6 or 7 minutes. We've got color on the dough. It looks good. That cheese is just kind of like molten lava. The smells coming out the fan are phenomenal. So let's have a little go. Homemade dough, like cheese of your choice, like the oiled herbs and a nice bake. Look at that. We're gonna take some of that fennel and just place that on top with some of those beautiful blackberries. I'm inclined to take a little bit of honey. So there we go. Hot, golden and crisp with the oozy cheese that's funky and then the fresh fennel with that amazing blackberry vinegar. Come on, let's get in there. Satisfying. Look at that. Look how the beautiful blackberries just melting in there. Right, how to approach this. Sometimes you just don't want to be filmed. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Hot, crunchy, spongy, sour, sweet. It is literally like a symphony of September. Take what you want from it. A little bit, a lot. In a time and a life where everyone's just getting more convenience, app delivery, like more processed food, like the future is about the best of technology and cooking, foraging, growing, putting stuff together, experimenting. Come on, get amongst it. Surf the seasons, enjoy. I'm gonna share with you the most delicious homemade falafel recipe. It's quick, it's easy, it's full of flavor and texture. And to go with that, I'm gonna give you a whole bunch of different sauces, pickles and garnishes that make it exceptional, but most importantly, you can use each and every one of these recipes in so many different ways in your own cooking. So, let's get going. Let's start off with a food processor. I've got 2 tins of chickpeas. Open the tin, and we're gonna get rid of the water, like that, in a sink. So go in with your drained chickpeas. Then plain flour, 1 tablespoon. Harissa paste, 1 tablespoon goes in. 1 teaspoon of allspice. A generous pinch of salt and pepper goes in. So I've got 1 regular bunch of coriander here. I'm gonna take the stalks that a lot of people waste. We ain't wasting them, right? They've been washed, they go in. That's gonna give it a sweetness and a beautiful perfume. I've got a nice lemon that I've washed, and just give the skin, just the yellow part, a little rub like that. And I want these falafels to be like light, but full of attitude. So lid on, give it a little pulse. Get a little spatula and go around the rim. You can see that ball going around the side now, so it's telling you that it's actually a really good kind of patty-like consistency. This ball here, I'll roll into about 16 little patties. So I want to get them golden and crisp, and I want to bring out the flavour in all those spices. Falafels are an ultimate, really nutritious and really affordable street food. Roughly chop these into 16-ish, roughly the same size patties. If you get a little bowl of water, they help keep the patties or meatballs nice and smooth instead of kind of breaking. So just wet your hands like this, like that, and then we'll just roll it into a nice little patty like that and just press it down about 2 inches in diameter. I'm going to put it onto a medium heat, and I want a nice lug of olive oil, and I'll lay that falafel straight into there like that. Bit of water. So roll it first, pat it next. It's as simple as that. Roll it, pat it, lay it. We'll keep them small so we can manage this. You'll make filling for 4 generous pitters. So while those falafels cook for about 3 minutes on each side, I've got them on a medium-low heat. I'm not rushing them. I want to show you different expressions of dips, garnishes, and sauces. First up, beautiful organic yogurt. I'm going to take this other half of the coriander and just finely chop it. You could use a pestle and mortar if you want. Beautiful. So I'll take a bit of garlic. I'll go back to this grater here, and I'll just grate half a garlic, like that. And that will be more than enough to make it pungent and delicious. We'll take a little pepper here. We'll take the coriander and the garlic here. The lemon that I took the zest from. So what I don't want this to be is boring. Okay, so first sauce is done. So I've got a standard red cabbage, white cabbage, it doesn't matter. I'll use a little speed peeler, and you'll just get the most wonderful pickle of red cabbage. Lovely antioxidants, super healthy, but most importantly, utterly delicious. Pinch of sea salt, red wine vinegar, white wine vinegar. Get a little splurge of that in there. Just use your hand. So scrunch, scrunch. I'm going to take a nice little handful there. Joy, joy, joy. Right? Let's check this. Just going to make sure we're taking care of things. Now, look, this is looking pretty good. Look at this. Beautiful. Yes. Smells amazing. Here's a quickie, and it's a funny, fruity little number. Tahini. A nice couple of spoons goes in. I'll show you a little funky, crazy thing. If I put lemon juice in that to make a little tahini sauce, delicious, by the way, it affects the tahini and makes it go super hard. It's getting thicker and thicker and thicker. So from a flavour point of view, delicious, especially with a little pinch of salt, right, to convince it that it's savoury. If it goes too thick, just add a little bit of hot water, and you can thin it down until it's nice and spoonable, and that's what we want. And if you want to give that a little hit of chili, you can. Tahini sauce, done. A really quick little number that I love is taking some chilies and just finely slicing them, and a little swig of vinegar and a little salt. Chilies go in. What I'm thinking here is texture, flavour, like sprinkles, garnishes. So last but not least, I want to show you a very quick cucumber and mint salad. Use any cucumbers you can get your hands on. These are the lovely small ones, which I love. Get a fork and scratch that cucumber like that. This allows seasoning and dressings to get in there. And all I do is put the 3 cucumbers together, slice it up, mix it up into your bowl, and then I just grab the stalks like that, twist it off, just the leaves, finely slice this, and I'll just dress it like a salad. I'll leave it quite chunky. Vinegar, but then the same amount of olive oil, so it's dressed but still tangy. Use the tips of your finger to dress this salad. So look, let's have a quick wipe down, and these will be ready. So in the 6 minutes it's taken to to cook these lovely falafels, right? We've done beautiful, simple salads, sauces, pickles, little garnishes, sprinkles. Love that. One last thing that you can do if you've got a gas hob is just reheat your pittas. You can put them in the toaster, you can put them in the oven, you can have it cold, but I quite like putting them onto a little gas hob like this. Just take care of it. Get a little set of tongs like this and just have a little eye on it like that. Turn it over and we'll just toast them up. Get them nice and warm, fluffy on the inside and a little bit sort of crispy on the outside. Okay, so pittas are toasted. Falafels are done. Come and have a look. Look how lovely and sizzly they are. Gorgeous. Okay, let's do one. So I'm going to get the knife in, open up the lovely pitta. You can fully open it. I'm going to go in first with that lovely yogurt with the mint. We're going to go in with a few cucumbers in and around the edge. I'm trying to create like the perfect mouthful. And then a little bit of that lovely pickle. Look at the colours. Yes! Look at that. There's one. Sizzling away. And then another, mate. Then we'll take that lovely sauce. Come on, Eileen, look at that. Just go OTT. We've got the mint leaves here. Be bold, be big. The chilies. And you've got that nice hot pitta. A little bit of oil on top. And then straight on top. Look, I mean, just look at that. That is a picture. Put this on top, and then you put the weight of your body on it. Push it down. I might just cut it in half, just so you can see what's going on in this story. That's what's going on. Gorgeous, decadent. That is full of flavour, full of life, full of nutrition. So guys, if you want the full recipe, and all the shopping lists, simply go to jamieoliver.com where we've got thousands and thousands of recipes and we're always updating it for free with love from me to you. Take care. Right, we're gonna make a super quick Cheats homemade pizza. It's not supposed to be the best artisan pizza in the world, but it is delicious and gorgeous. We can start it and cook it in under 10 minutes, so let's get on with it. And I've got 2 helpers here that are flicking me. And this could be a nightmare, guys. This could be a nightmare, but this is Petal, my 3rd daughter, and this is Buddy, my 4th daughter, who, she's lovely.
I'm not a daughter, I'm a boy.
Sorry, I forgot. First up, we're gonna have 1.5 cups of self-raising flour.
I'm doing it.
Try not to have an argument. I did ask her to roll her sleeves up. Apparently that's not very fashion forward. It doesn't matter if your mug is bigger or smaller, it's all relative. Then we put half a mug of water, a pinch of salt, and I just want a tablespoon of oil, Petal. So wazz it up. 30 seconds, 1 minute. And as soon as it starts to clean the bowl, that's good. Not too much flour. Right. So look, here's our dough. And you want it to be sort of stretchy and elastic like this, which is nice. So I'm just going to divide this into 2. What I want them to do is roll out their base into a kind of circle. I've got a non-stick large pan, okay? It's cold. So I put that on a high heat. I'm going to turn on the grill. Every now and again, you can make a big batch of hidden veg tomato sauce. And it's great on pizza. It means you're getting lots of the good stuff in them. Click the link and Carrie-Anne is going to smash out the recipe and you will love it. Buds, I'm going to take yours. Now I can just drop this into the pan. We're going to put the tomato sauce, 7 veg, on the pizza base. I'm just going to back spoon that. Buds, what do you want on your pizza, dude? Mozzarella? You like mozzarella?
I want some salami.
Okay. Now, one of the things about pizza is restraint. Don't overload it. Do you want some Parmesan?
And I want some of this.
What's that?
And Petal's finished. I want this.
It's quite nice letting the Parmesan
Dad?
go around the edge.
Dad, I want this.
What's that, mate?
This, I don't know what it's called.
Oh, prosciutto. There's me talking about restraint. Making me. Okay.
I want it everywhere.
Okay. Well, I'm trying to tell people about restraint, buddy, and you say you want it everywhere. Basil, oregano.
Basil and oregano.
Oh, fair enough. Amazing flavour. Really, really nice. And that'll go straight now under the grill. All right. 2 more minutes. Done. Petal, this is a slightly thicker pizza. Okay. We're going to go into the pan. These little finger marks in here are going to trap the sauce. So go a little bit more generous on the sauce.
Dad, I need a toilet.
Oh, God. Okay. That boy is the death of me. He will go to the toilet anywhere. Anywhere. There's not a place. If I introduced him to the Queen, he'd go, just a minute, ma'am, and he'd just take a slash anywhere. Anywhere. There's nowhere he hasn't been to the toilet. Dude, that is my life right there. He just sprinkle where he wants to. And also, he thinks, you know, etiquette would say that I cut that out. I'm leaving that in for all the parents out there, because you parents are all going, yeah, I've got one of those too. You all right, mate? Wash your hands. Anyway, so buddies will now come out. It's taken no time at all. It looks gorgeous. It's crispy skinned, straight on to the board. And then this next one here, this goes straight under. They love balsamic. You can put some fresh basil over the top. Of course, the purist pizza makers are going to take this apart. But when you've got kids, you've got to feed them. And you want to give them stuff that they want. And of course, pizza's a treat. But actually, if you trade up from white flour to whole grain flour, you're getting closer to a really healthy pizza. If you do a 7-veg tomato sauce, you're getting towards a healthy pizza. If you restrain the cheese, you're getting a really lovely thing. Who wants some pizza?
Me.
Gorgeous.
Me.
You made it. You know what went into it.
You didn't made it.
Okay, you made it. You made it. Let it cool down.
Ooh la la. Bigger one.
For me, this is the best time of day, like 6 o'clock when the sun's thinking about going down. I'm cooking outside. I've got the barbie going. I could not be happier. In the last couple of months with family, I've cooked more for them than ever before, and it's sort of changed the way I'm cooking a little bit. I'm making ingredients go further and trying new things with them. Something humble like chicken legs, super economical, crispy skin, juicy meat, melt in your mouth. But it's really not about the chicken, it's about the cauliflower, right? And I've had quite a few of these over the last couple of months, and you can only do so much cauliflower cheese, which I love, by the way. And that kind of set me off. There's a French salad called a remoulade, which you'll kind of get in various countries, and they'll do it their own way. Traditionally using celeriac with mayonnaise. It's really creamy and gorgeous, but I'm gonna do it with cauliflower. And I'm gonna make the most delicious play on a remoulade, an incredible cauliflower salad. Actually, you can have it raw, really, really thinly sliced, and you can use the green bits, and it's super delicious with the chicken. Happy days. Some lovely baguette and some sweet onions. This is gonna be an amazing lunch or dinner. So look, let's get this going. I'm gonna get the chicken straight on the barbecue. I've put the coals to one side, so I have a hot, medium, and cool end. I'll go skin side down, completely naked, right? No marinade, no salt, no oil, right? We're gonna use the heat to start rendering the skin on the outside. At the same time, get some onion, go in half like that, and then in half like that. Put that straight on as well. Normally, I would cook this in an oven. It's super easy. You just put the chicken in a snug fitting roasting tray, put it on the hob, get the skin going, then put the onions in, twiddle it about, put it in the oven for about 35 minutes at 180 degrees Celsius, which is 350 Fahrenheit. It's delicious, but this is gonna be another level because we've got the smoke. To get some incredible flavour happening with the chicken, some nice vinegar, 3 or 4 tablespoons in there, and a little bit of olive oil. Seasoned with pepper. Use some herbs, right? Some rosemary, thyme as a brush. And pretty much you'll use all of that. As the skin's getting gnarly and golden and sizzling, just give it a kiss. And the vinegar will evaporate and just leave you with this really delicious outer skin. We got a sizzle on. I'll bring it down medium and slow, as that chicken's gonna need like 40 minutes until the meat comes off the bone. So as that cooks, let's talk about the remoulade. The remoulade, tried to say it there in a French accent, classic French salad. They were julienne, or finely stripped celeriac, which is a fantastic vegetable again. And they'd have it with mayonnaise and capers and cornichons and beautiful mustard. I'm being inspired by that, and I'm going to do my version with thinly cut cauliflower. It's really fresh and sweet and delicious. So we're going to hero it. I'm going to go lighter, fresher. So I'm going to use yogurt instead of mayonnaise. Get good organic yogurt, way, way more nutritious, and of course about 80% less fat than mayonnaise. And I think that's more flavorful. You've got that acidity, that freshness, which is really, really beautiful. A little swig of good olive oil, like that. We can kind of like bounce off those classic flavors of the cornichon. You know, if you go to the supermarket and get these little jars, you've got the cornichon there, you've got the little silver tin onions. You don't want to be peeling little button onions like that. You've got more important things to do, right? Those pickles are so good in this salad. I'm simply going to finely slice the onions and the cornichons to make a little dressing that's got attack. You know, the acidity of these pickles will work really well with the lovely richness of the chicken. That goes in to our yogurt, followed by a nice hefty teaspoon of beautiful mustard as well. A tiny pinch of salt, not much, and then a little tablespoon of the liquor from here. This liquor is delicious. That is a simple, much healthier dressing, but full of flavour. Mix it up. Let's crack on with the salad. We want to take this beautiful, frumpy old veg and make it delicate and elegant. So first of all, let's take the green leaves off and just have a little look. Often these go in the bin, right? But if they're fresh and if they're in good nick, they're going in, right? There's nothing wrong with this at all. Super nutritious and delicious as well. So we'll put that in a pile, line it up, and just finely slice this. Go in with the lovely greens here. Break it down into those little florets that you would normally use, and we'll just literally finely slice it. Go as fine as you can, and what you'll start to do is get these lovely little slithers here, lovely little cross sections of cauliflower, super beautiful. And now you've turned it from a vegetable to a salad vegetable. And when that hits that beautiful dressing with the crunch and the pickle and the tang, it's going to be joyful. And so you've got that lovely, gorgeous, kind of slurry white veg that's fresh. It will be good with roasted fish, you know, really nice as a salad amongst a little buffet. Something different. You know, none of these ingredients are hard to get. Standard stuff, pickles, mustard, cauliflower. Now we've got a beautiful salad. So that's done. Now back to the chicken. Give it its last little baste. And we're going from direct grilling, I'll just leave the time in there now, to turning it into an oven by putting the lid on top, right? You're trapping that smoke. It's going to be really flavorful. Let's let that have about 20 minutes cooking, and then I'll check it and show you what to do next. Look at that. So on with some nice little croutons. The chicken here, yeah, that's looking good. It's juicy. So that's pretty much there. And you've got all the lovely flavour of the smoke. You know, it's been basted with the vinegar and the seasoning. I'm going to get myself a couple of plates. One for me, one for Jules. Take some of this beautiful cauliflower salad, remoulade, version of a remoulade. Look at that. And actually, this gets better when you leave it just for like 10 or 15 minutes. Once you can pinch that chicken and the meat comes off the bone, you know you're in a good place. I might just put it on its skin side for that one last moment, just to get the skin going mad. That's what I want. That resting on that. So let's take the first chicken and just place that straight onto there. Gorgeous. Look at that. Absolutely beautiful. That's what it's all about, the contrast of like gnarly, perfectly cooked, seasoned up, fatty, with the fresh and the delicate. And then, oh, don't forget the croutons. I was not concentrating. I was lost in the world of all things beautiful. Gather up my onions, give it a little season up like that, and it's just the most beautiful, sweet, soft onion rings. That one's got a stalk on it, so that's my fault. And again, another little kiss of vinegar. And this on our croutons. The fresh salad and the gnarly chicken. What a combo. So look, this one's for Jules, because it's a bit prettier. This one is for me. Let's have a little try before I go and surprise her. So just take some of that lovely chicken. It will just pull off the bone. So what I'm going to do now is a delicious Swedish-style bun, right? You could have it as a bun with coffee and tea, or even a dessert back home in England with a bit of custard. It's going to be delicious. I've picked these wild blueberries, which are going to be amazing. So in here, I've got some tepid or just warm milk, right? 375 grams with 1 sachet, which is 7 grams of dried yeast. Just mix it up, give it like 3 or 4 minutes. You can see it's starting to froth up there, and it just activates the dry yeast. And then in a bowl, I'm going to add 2 medium-sized eggs. So I want a nice pinch of salt going into the 2 eggs. I think Swedish food is really surprising. You know, it's clean, it's fresh, it's elegant, it's gorgeous, but then, you know, it gets spanked by this use, confident, bold use of like spices. These are the cardamoms here. Just take the green outer husk off, and then you've got the seeds there in the middle. So I just peeled about, I don't know, 20 of those, and I just pound it up in a pestle and mortar. So I'm going to put about just over a teaspoon of bashed up cardamom in there. 200 grams of sugar goes in, just white sugar, like that. You can see it changing colour. And I'm just going to put in 50 grams of melted butter, regular butter. So I've added all that in there. You can see it's starting to fluff up. I'm going to put the 375 mils of tepid milk and yeast in. And then all I'm going to do now is add about 750 grams of plain flour. Right, that's 500. I want 750. I'm going to put the flour straight in. And what I want to do is I want to put the first 500 grams in, and I want it to sort of go a little bit kind of elastic. That's about right. I want it to be like glue, homemade glue. When I was a kid, I used to make glue by just mixing flour and water together. I used to put all my posters on the wall, a little bit of Phil Collins, a little bit of 5 Star, with my tie-dye jeans and my green boating shoes. And you wonder why I didn't have a girlfriend till I was 18? That's why. So look, see, it's almost not breaking off now. That's good. So I've got 250 grams there. And then I'm going to put the rest in. So that's 750 grams in total. You want it to be a dough, but you don't want it to stick all over your hands and sort of make your hands like go sticky. Look at that, there you go. When you touch it, it kind of feels rich, you know? Smells amazing. Now it's a dough, you've got yeast in it, so you need to let it prove, you know, you want it to double in size. So I'm going to put a damp cloth over it, leave it for about an hour to an hour and a half, give or take, until it's doubled in size, like that. And you can see what's happened. You can see the yeast has done its work. See as I open it up? Beautiful. Now, I've got 375 grams of wild blueberries. You can use regular blueberries by all means. Anything basically fruity, sweet and sour. I'm gonna put about 75 grams of sugar in, and I'm just gonna sort of scrunch it up. The sugar just sort of extracts the juice. Look at that. Beautiful stuff. I wanna put some orange juice in it. Just add a little zest. I only want the juice about half of an orange. Look at that. What a pleasure. Right, so I'm happy. Got my fruit. Get this lovely dough. Put some flour on a board. bad shot. Just gonna get my dough, just stretch it. Take this fruit, just bang it in there. Here we go. Lay the berries all across. I want to push the berries in, just bring the dough in and over, sort of, you know. So basically, I've got my, you know, berries trapped in this dough, like that. So it's almost rippled, right? Cut it in two. Got myself a baking tray. I'm gonna have an experiment. I'm thinking about other things that I've seen and done. A few little knobs of butter, some brown sugar, just a little handful. There you go. Now, the idea, I've never done this before, is that butter and sugar sort of caramelizes on the bottom, so you get a really nice arse and a really nice face. Now, I want to get about 8 portions out of this. Cut that in half. There's 4. Look, and bear with me, I know it's a mess, but some of the best things in life are a mess. So like, just hold it up like that, just stretch it. And you can see you've got the little pockets there of like fresh dough and the beautiful blueberries. Like I saw in that bakery where they were rolling that wonderful pastry around. And they're gonna prove again, I'm gonna leave these for about probably half an hour. There you go. It's actually one of the prettiest things I think I've seen. Just sprinkle over some sugar, a little bit of orange zest. I mean, it kind of looks like a bit of a car crash, but it also looks like one of the most gorgeous, lovely things in the world. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to let them sit for half an hour. They'll puff up a little bit. Pop it in an oven about 180 degrees, you know, 350 Fahrenheit, for about sort of 20, 25 minutes, and they should be lovely. You want to just look at them when they're golden and crisp. Happy days. Have a little look at these babies. Look at my new best friends. Look at that. So good. If you can see where they've sort of proved into each other, you let these little babies cool down, but the idea is as you eat them, you sort of start tearing them away, and you can see where you get the ripple thing going on. Amazing. Brilliant. Okay, whoever the Swedish god is, give me luck. We've got exactly what I wanted, which is crispy bits. And as soon as that gets to like room temperature, that's going to go snappy, snappy cold. And there you go. A beautiful bun, dish, dessert, inspired by this incredible journey in Sweden. I'm really chuffed with that. Nice one. Skål with coffee. Oh, that's hot. So this is kind of like a veggie curry, but the way that I cook it and put it together, it turns out like a beautiful rice cake. It's full of colour, full of flavour. So when I first came up with this recipe, it was all about the cauliflower. And it's really nice to single out one vegetable and hero it. But you know what, at the same time, I really want to celebrate lots of different ways to express this dish. So we can do courgettes, we can use some frozen peas. Here, I've got a 28 centimetre non-stick pan on a medium-high heat. We're gonna go in with 2 onions, white or red. So take the skin off, half them, and then just roughly chop them into about 1 centimetre chunks. If you haven't got onions, you could use leeks, you could use spring onions. A little bit of oil goes in, and then the onions go in like that, look at that. So we'll just fry these off for like 5 minutes until nice and softened. So let's get to the veg. Courgettes, for instance, we're just gonna half that, then cut that half in half, and then again, little 1 centimetre chunks. Then we've got the cauliflower. Trim off the lovely cauliflower flowers, about 1.5 centimetres from the flower itself. But then the stalk here, often, this will go in the bin, right? We don't want to do that at all. We don't want to waste it. Also, it's really delicious and super nutritious. Slice it up. So look, these onions are getting nice and soft. Now, in with the tikka paste. This stuff's amazing. We've got layer upon layer of different spices. The smell already is incredible. Then I go in with my veg. Just stir it around, jiggle it, and as we get heat through to those veggies, it will start to shrink down. The flavours will really start to come out. So look, after a couple of minutes, let's go in with our frozen peas, just a handful. And then we go in with 1 regular mug of basmati rice. Then to guarantee you beautiful, fluffy rice that works every time, I'm gonna go in with 2 mugs of water. So mix that up. And then I want a little bit of spice, right, as in heat spice. So I've got like 3 chilies here. Prick them with the tip of a knife, and then that will give a really, really subtle chili flavour to this. And one last thing, which I think is a brilliant curveball, poppadom. And when I was in Delhi last year, I saw so many variations of poppadoms. I'm gonna take 6 here, right? And you just smash them up, and it will suck up that moisture, a little bit like we use lasagna. So just mix up those poppadoms, pat it all down, and then turn that down to like medium, lid on top, and cook that for about 10 minutes. So this beautiful curry dish has had about 10 minutes. And now if you listen to it, you can hear it catching and crackling. Just push the veg and rice down. On a low heat, just let that fry up for about 10 minutes, and it's gonna give it a lovely crispy bottom. And then what I wanna do is kind of dress it up. On the same trip, when I learned about how to use those dried poppadoms in such an interesting way, I also saw them take pomegranates and take mango chutney and put the 2 together. And the result was like the best hack ever. Simply mix it up, so, so good. So this has had 10 minutes now. I'm pretty excited that it's gonna be nice and crispy. So get yourself a plate or a platter, put it above the pan like that. Yes! Look at that. So what I love to do is get that yogurt and just kind of give a few splurges. We'll go in with those bits of mango chutney and pomegranate, and then just lots of lovely herbs. Get in there through the crust. Look at this. Yes. Ho ho. Wowzers. I absolutely love this little area of where I live. It's like my little quiet corner. Me and Buds can get away, like the barbecue. It's not the most beautiful day, but we're gonna create some food now for us that is full of sunshine, full of flavour. I'm gonna cook the most delicious chicken burger. Spiced with jerk seasoning. We're gonna do amazing caramelised pineapple, a lovely slaw. So it all starts here with the chicken. I've got a lovely free-range chicken breast, nice and plump, and we're gonna marinate it up. So get your chicken breast on a board, go to the middle of that breast, and gently cut that chicken breast in half. It's gonna cook more evenly and faster. Now, at this point, I can just stab in to the chicken breast like this. That'll help the flavour get into the chicken. Salt and pepper, as usual. I'm gonna go a little kiss of olive oil, like that. And then let's have a look at this jerk seasoning. I love it, I absolutely love it. It's a brilliant blend of allspice, salt, chili, black pepper, cumin, thyme, paprika, bay leaves, turmeric. It's an incredible list of amazing spices, and jerk traditionally comes from Jamaica, but of course used across the Caribbean. I'm gonna be fairly generous, a little teaspoon or 2, and then just rub that all over the chicken and massage it in. Those spices I think are absolutely fantastic. And I think like traditionally they'd use that on chicken, goat, you know, fish, and you know, it's a wonderful spice combination. And look at that. We've encrusted it. It's gonna be amazing. So let that sit for a little bit. I'll get rid of this knife and board, wash my hands. Okay, the chicken is marinating. It's only a thin slice, so you can get away with marinating it nice and quick. If you wanted to do it overnight, you can, just don't put salt on the chicken, okay? Now, look, let's just talk about the buns. For me, the story is a soft and spongy bun, right? Wrapped around that really gnarly, gorgeous chicken. So we need to riff off of that. So in my head, when I'm coming up with this, I'm thinking, how can we use the flavour of the Scotch bonnet, because this is one of my favourite things in the world, but control the heat. So let me show you how I do it. Take a sharp knife and slice up that Scotch bonnet like that into little slices. Now, this is very hot, so you might want to put gloves on. I'm fine not doing it. You've got to be careful with chilies, because if you touch your eyes or anything, it can be really painful. Notice I'm using the knife, not my hands. Now, you can see the seeds starting there. The seeds and the white membrane either side, that's where the aggressive heat is. So simply remove the stalk, the seeds, and the little bits of white membrane, just like that. And then slice up the rest of the Scotch bonnet by thinly slicing it so it's delicate. Of course, then whatever you get on your palate will be less of it, so that's kind of controlling the heat by size. Then there's other things you can do. You can take a sieve here and you can give it a wash, right? And I do it in the sink normally, just gonna put some jug of water like this. But even when you're doing this, the smell of it can catch you out, so don't put your nose right above it. So you give these a little wash, like that. Then there's even more things you can do to control the heat. What I want to do is pickle this. I'm going to put vinegar in here, white wine or red wine vinegar, just a couple of tablespoons just to cover it. I'll season it with salt. And then, last but not least, there's a really good little kicker here. Part of this beautiful burger is a piece of pineapple. And I love using the tinned pineapple. That's going to be amazing in this burger. But also what's really good is in these tins, you've got the natural juice. So we'll steal that. Imagine the sweetness there, pulling away the heat from that chili. It's an amazing little pickle and a great little tip. So this will happily sit there like that. And I would use this to bring to life any slaw, to put on any kind of grilled meat, especially in a little bun. It's amazing with rice. You can use this also just as a little kicker on a lovely little chili con carne or a stew that needs a bit of life. So chicken, bun, and the lovely Scotch bonnet pickle ready to go. Let's make a very fast little slaw. So I'm gonna take some carrot and just grate it on the coarse side of a box grater. Of course, you can use any crunchy veg you can get your hands on. So it could be radishes, it could be cucumber, it could be a little bit of red cabbage. Fill your boots, do what you want. I've got some white cabbage here and give it a little grate. Try and do quite nice long strokes. So I only need enough for me and Buds. So instead of using mayonnaise, I want to go more tangy, fresher, and way more healthy. So I like to use a nice natural yogurt. It's about 90% less fat than mayonnaise. And I'll just season that up with a little salt and pepper again. And there we have the most delicious, simple slaw. And what I love to do for seasoning and a little bit of a slap, bring it to life, is steal a little bit of this liquor from the chilies. So actually, before I do it, I'm gonna have a little taste. Always good to know what you're doing. The flavor is so amazing. It already tastes like peaches and apricots, and it's really floral. And with the pineapple juice, it's just getting better and better. That will ramp up this slaw really, really nicely. And there you go. Everything's ready and raring to go. Hello, big boy.
Hello.
You all right?
Yeah.
Hungry?
Yeah.
I'm doing a nice little chicken burger. Have you ever had Scotch bonnet chili?
No. Do I have to have the Scotch bonnet chili?
You don't have to have it, just a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm trying to train you. Right, let's get cooking. Here, I've got the barbecue lit, but you could do this in a pan, in the house, easy peasy. You can see I've got a high pile of coals here, so that's your hot side, and then almost nothing there, so that's your cooler part. So we've got control. I want to cook the chicken hard and fast, so it's gnarly on the outside and juicy on the inside, and I want to get that pineapple caramelizing. In actual fact, I'll have 2 more slices. So I'm going to go onto the cooler side with the pineapple, and then with the chicken, and on we go. Beautiful. Probably a couple of minutes on each side if it's nice and hot. If I'm cooking this in the house, I just have a big non-stick pan on full whack. So what's pretty cool about the chicken is we've already cut it in half, so it'll cook twice as fast. It will also have more of the seasoning on it, so you're gonna get double bang for your buck. Let's turn it over. Yes! Look at that. Absolutely gorgeous. Look at the dancing fat. And then with the pineapple, hopefully we'll get some nice caramelization there as well. So look, the chicken's coming off now, and I don't want to overcook that, so just put that onto a plate, and we'll let that rest as you do. Get these beautiful pineapples with the chicken, get these buns toasted up, then we're ready to rock and roll. So let's build these burgers. They are a thing of joy. So we have our slaw on the bottom. That is good for catching all the juices from the chicken. Get that on there. Then I'll go on with a piece of pineapple. Juicy, juicy, juicy. Then let's get that amazing chicken. I like to slice it at an angle. So let's just do it into 2 or 3. And look at that. Oh, yes. Can you see the juiciness? So not overcooked, gnarly outside, and really fresh, clean inside. Look at that. So we'll start racking this up. resting juices I'll put on top of the burger. They make a massive difference, look at that. For Buddy, I'm just going to put 3 Scotch bonnets over, like that. What I will do is take a little bit of that juice and just kiss it with that, because it's going to be amazing. I'll be a little bit more aggressive with the Scotch bonnet. I'll have a little wodge like that, and then bun on top. Come on. Right, I'm going to do a whole load of barbecue action today. Barbecuing is absolutely brilliant. It's my favourite way to cook, above and beyond anything. Being outside, the smells, wood, charcoal, you know, all of that business, the flavour that it gives your food, you know, even just a bit of meat, salt and pepper, and the barbecue flavour is genius. So what I'm going to do today is go through all the bits of barbecuing, doing it properly, and this in particular is a real favourite of mine, and all it is a roasting tray. I've just got one of my big roasting trays, and I just use a cake rack, you know, to cook everything on. And I just literally put that on top like that. Fantastic. I'm going to cook on this today a whole load of seafood. So I've got prawns, langoustines, razor clams. I've got a whole mixture of stuff here. And I want to get some smoke action going. So a few little bits of, you know, wood, some dry sort of leaves, all that sort of business, just on the barbie, sort of like that. That'll create a nice bit of smoke. I've just pruned a little bit of bay leaves, which they sort of, there's oil in them, so they sort of go up quite nicely. So get that on there. Give it a little bit of blow. And then let's get our langoustines on the bottom. Razor clams can go on the bottom too. A few prawns. Then let's build the mussels in and around. Clams like this. And you can see the smoke coming up now. Brilliant, we're loving all of that. Get yourself a Pyrex bowl. Pyrex is obviously heat-proof, heat-treated. And you can just gather that around like this. Can you see all that smoke? And what's going to happen is all of those lovely shellfish, the langoustines, the razor clams are just going to be like cooking away nicely. But smoking, you're going to impart that beautiful flavour of smoking. So that, dead simple, bit exciting, bit different. It's going to be top drawer. Now, to go with it, I'm just going to do a dressing, an equivalent of a dressing. So I'm thinking shellfish. I've got to be light, but I can also be a little bit kicky. So chop up some herbage first. Parsley, fennel tops, mint, and you can just use a knife, or I'm using a mezzaluna, just to sort of chop these little mamas up. Bit of chilli, seafood, works really, really well. Cut the chilli, sort of, probably just use half of it really, and then just chop the chilli into the herb. There's something about chopping them into each other, which I think sort of helps along the flavour a little bit. A little bit of lime zest will not do anything apart from just help the story. You know, you get that kind of lemonade-y, limey sort of flavour. And once you've done that, you can chop that into it as well. And I'm going to brush this into the bowl. So just squeeze some nice lime juice in here. Extra virgin olive oil, 3 to 1. We want the lime to be a little bit too acidic, because once we get all the fish in there and the fish juices, it will sort of kick it back down again. Right, that's brilliant. So what we can do is, if we look back down here now on the lovely seafood, I think now we can actually remove bowl and we can start being intelligent about who's open and who's not. They've had their little smoke session for about 3-4 minutes. So I'm just going to pull off all these shellfish now that are cooked. It's lovely just to watch them opening up. See that lovely juice coming out? That juice is what we're cherishing, really. I mean, just look at that. I've got hot seafood, I've got the juices from all the shellfish, I've got that lovely fresh dressing, which is slightly limey. You don't have to do much more than that. Absolutely delish. You know, this is a brilliant, brilliant thing to do at a barbie. That is unusual, it's unpredictable, it's a delicious, cool little dish, which I'm really, really proud of.
We all love a burger, and this time, I reckon I've cracked the ultimate one. My friend Christian is an expert in all things barbecue, so he's come to help me cook it and eat it.
The whole world of burgers has gone crazy.
Gone crazy.
It has.
What was good 5 years ago is now average.
It's gone insane, really.
And what is good now will probably get outdone next year. So my job and Christian's job today with you is give you the kind of points to incredible. I'm talking about the flavour, the pickles, the bun, the juice. Do you like it kind of like all held together, or do you like it kind of steamy and juicy and sort of falling between your fingers?
Falling apart, man. You want that juice to break down and just kind of get all, you want it dripping off your fingers.
Honestly, burgers aren't just burgers anymore. There's a new level set. So first up, let's talk about the meat. Now, this is chuck steak. Go to your butchers and ask him for chuck steak. It's got incredible flavour, an amazing mix of fat, isn't it?
It's the classic meat for a classic burger.
And notice, no flavouring, no herbs, no seasoning. We're treating it like a steak. Divide it into 4. So that's 800 grams here, that's 200 gram patties. You want to make your patties just a bit bigger than the bun because you will get some shrinkage.
And you want to press it enough just so it holds together, but you don't want to over press it where it becomes too dense. You want holes in there so when that fat kind of breaks down, it just flavors all that beautiful meat. There's my imperfect perfection right there, a little bit of jagged.
So kind of perfect is not perfect. Imperfect
It's perfect.
But of course, it's not just about the burger. You need all the extras. I'm making 2 pickles. One, simply with a few crinkle-cut gherkins and a little bit of chilli. The chilies in there are kind of a nice bonus. Plus a second with finely sliced red onion, white wine vinegar and a pinch of salt. Just let them marinate. Pickles are kind of important, aren't they?
They are.
You know, that sweetness, that saltiness, that tang.
This is the taste of my summers in Iowa. My grandma used to do this with onions, that kind of vinegar, and cucumbers.
What was your childhood then? Around a barbecue?
It was around a barbecue. My dad taught me to barbecue from the age of 8, and we would just do this. Burgers and the onions
Steaks.
and the vinegars and steaks.
Chicken.
And make his grandpa's secret sauce. Are you doing a secret sauce?
Well, I'm going to do a bit of a J sauce.
Okay.
This is basically harking back to days in the 80s when I was living in the pub. So I've got 2 heaped tablespoons of mayo, 1 tablespoon of ketchup. Worcestershire sauce, important. Just a little swig or 2 of that. There is a new discovery, Tabasco, but Chipotle Tabasco. Okay.
It's smoky, kind of hot flavor, man.
Oh my God.
I love this
The
stuff.
Chipotle rocks. And then a little swig, a little tinkle of bourbon. Okay. You could use brandy, but bourbon feels good.
That was a tinkle of bourbon right there.
Was that all right?
That was a good amount, man.
Sometimes it's nice to put a little lemon juice in there to give it some tang. Sometimes you can steal a little bit of vinegar from over there, bro. Go on.
Yeah.
And just a tiny dribble of your onion vinegar. I like it. I like it.
It's good.
I'm going to hit it up with more Tabasco.
Yeah, I was gonna say, man, that's what it needs.
One of the things that really we learned from American fast food, they'll have iceberg through that. I've been really anti-iceberg for a long, long time.
Thanks for coming back.
I've come back. Bit of compost.
You're welcome, Earth.
When it kind of gets dressed in that, the crunch does go, but not totally. It's kind of like half soft, half crunchy. And this, for me, is really the perfect base to kind of welcome the burger.
I'm nicking this, dude. This is a really good
Yeah, you
recipe.
happy about this?
Yeah, really good. Let's do it. Let's get grilling.
Pat the burgers with oil, then season with salt and pepper. And actually, 2 at a time is a nice number, I think, if you're going to really take care of it. You can see already, like, the fat starting to cinder off, hit the coals, and that sort of pelting smoke back up and kissing the meat. This is what barbecue's all about.
Yeah, it is.
Whether it's charcoal or wood.
Well, there's flavor in the fuel down there. There's flavor in the wood and the charcoal. So there's all these layers of flavors, not just the meat and the seasoning, but the fuel.
And you wouldn't get that from a fry pan.
No.
Or an oven or a grill.
Or gas grill.
Absolutely. Is that your enemy, gas grill?
Man, that's sacrilege. It's like, why come outside?
There's kind of an interesting procedure that can give you an incredibly succulent, juicy burger. You go get the American-style mustard, and we go get a paintbrush, sear one side of the burger, and then we turn it. And then that seared side, we brush, and then we sear the mustard seared side. And then we brush the other side. So we do 2 normal cooks, and then 2 mustard cooks. And that creates a pretty special burger. This is gonna create a lovely, sweet and kind of hummy, gorgeous mustard bark. So now we just gotta wait, guys.
That's cool.
My friend, can you possibly pass me the bacon? It ain't bacon unless it's smoked bacon. For me, that's like the best sight in cooking, when the fat's doing that and you just know you're caramelizing and creating flavor. Sometimes good things can't be rushed, you know? Now, I've got some cheese. So I just want 2 nice slices. I'm using red Leicester.
I dub thee king of the grill.
This British cheese has a lovely nutty flavour, but you can use any cheese you fancy as long as it's a good tasty melter. This is a really important stage now in the perfection of the burger. Now just look around, we got burger, it's on its last stage, okay? And Christian's spinning a bowl. And now
Oh, it's like a...
we put the dome over.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're trapping smoke. Also, this is gonna get hot. Like, I can't put my hand on it anymore, okay? So that's turning into an oven. And it's just gonna let that cheese just kind of like melt, just sag. But also, look, the bacon's looking very, very beautiful. So I'm just gonna pop this little dome off.
It's already starting to do its magic,
You can see
man.
it's starting to do its magic. And I'm just gonna pop the bacon on top.
Seriously, that is gorgeous.
In that pan is amazing smoky bacon fat.
You're not going there with the
I am.
rolls, are you?
I am.
You are next level, bro.
This is a brioche bun. Nice, soft, spongy to sort of suck up all the juices that rest out of the burger.
Look at it, perfect. Dude, a tear trickles down the side of my cheek right now. That's how happy I am. Tears of joy.
Now for that special moment, the build. The sauce and the lettuce. That's the first welcoming to the party. The thing is, I want to put more, but you gotta restrain yourself when it comes to the perfect equation of the perfect burger. So just take it to the edge.
It's the right balance, man. You want everything to sing. You want all, it's a band. That burger is a band, and you gotta have the drummer, you gotta have the guitar player, and that's the lead singer right there.
Ah. The mustard bark, zingy, crunchy pickles, tomato ketchup on that toasted brioche dipped in bacon fat. It's all those little details that make this burger perfect.
Look, I've got this lovely fish here, lovely bit of organic salmon. Really, really nice. Beautiful, look at that lovely silvery skin. Now, what I want to do is I want to barbecue this fish. And the fact that my lovely fishmonger's scaled this means I can eat the skin. Now, some people are a bit funny about skin. Like, think pork crackling, right? Now everyone's getting excited. I want to make crackling out of this skin. So what I want to do is I want to score this little baby on the pink side, 1 centimetre deep, like this. And then what I want to do is season this with some pepper, some salt, and I've got some lemon here. I'm literally just going to microplane the lemon. Get that on top. Just put that down. This fennel, incredibly good for you, good for your old tummy. And just literally pull off all the lovely herbage off of this. So just chop up your fennel like this. But once you've got it sort of nice and sort of fine, you've already sort of bashed out some of the oily flavours in it. And obviously it reduces a lot in size. I've got some of the nice little yellow flowers in there as well. And get the salmonate. I want to get this lovely greenage here, and I just want to rub it in like this. And then just literally open it up where you've done those little, see where you can see those little slits there? Just rub and stuff in there that fennel into those little cuts. What we want to happen is that that fennel inside those little cuts has a little bit of a party with all the lovely fat that starts to cook outside the fish. Really pack it on, get it in those cracks, right down there. Nice. Right, after we've rubbed that in a bit, and then I want to get my oil and I want to put some on the board and on the fish, and I want to put a little bit of saltage on this side of the board, not because I want to season the board, but just pat the fish. So we've got the oil going on this side, and then we've got this lovely side here which we want to get oiled up and salted up. So just rub that around the board. So I want to crispen up that skin, so there ain't no point in me turning it quick or being in a rush. Leave it. I'm going to leave it for about 75–80% of the cooking time, skin side down. When it's nice and golden and crispy looking, then we'll turn it. But until then, I've got these cucumbers, I'm just slicing them lengthwise, and then I just want to sort of slice them across. And we're going to make a little bit of a cucumber tzatziki and mix it in with some yogurt, obviously, and some lemon juice, salt and pepper. So I'll just chop these up, put a little bit to the side, and then I've got some oregano and some flowering thyme. Flowering thyme's quite pretty. Just going to chop some of this up. Of course, I'd normally use mint or parsley or something like that, but these sort of herbs chopped up, it's going to be lovely, isn't it? It's going to be lovely. So, listen, I can hear a fair bit of sizzling. Let's have a little look. Yeah, that's nice and done. Shall I? I'm good. So that'll cook another 3 minutes. That's just enough time for me to get this little sauce going. So, cucumber into here. Let's get a bit of lemon juice action going. Nice bit of lemon. And then dress it with a little bit of oil. So a little bit of yogurt in there. Yogurt and cucumber, it is a great combo. Whoever invented it was genius. I'm just going to stir it in and sort of leave it a little bit marbled. I'll tell you what I'd love to do, just hit this with a little bit of chilli. So just finely slice it. Go on, bit of chilli. Okay, I think this is going to be done. So, edge it off onto your board. What I want to do, and I'm thinking pork crackling here, is pull this off like this. Now, crispy, soft and gooey. That ain't going to get the people that don't like skin to like skin. That goes straight back on the grill, and that will fry up and go really, really crisp. Just break it up. Be brave with it. Look at that, just cooked. See that hum of pink, right? That's like a perfect roast lamb. Look at that little lobe of meat there. Look at that, looks fantastic. That's what excites me about cooking, all that sort of business, right? And then over here, crackling. See how dark that is on the other side, right? You know, when you're at catering college, you do twill biscuits, and they put all around your ice cream to make a £3 dessert look like a £10 dessert. Little trick, right? Well, as soon as they come out the oven, they go crispy again. And that is now crispy again, right? Like that. So, I'll let that cool down a bit more. I think I'm just going to get my lovely tzatziki, like that. A few of those nice cucumbers on the top so you can see what you're eating. A bit of chilli action so you know what's actually in it. Some of those pretty little thyme flowers. Break up some fennel tops over the top from a height. Fantastic. And then my boy here, just crank it. This is not Michelin star food, this is proper food, this is dinner. That's it. You take that to anyone's table for a bit of din-dins and they're going to go, wow.